Dear friends, I want to talk with you about a serious topic today. I want to talk with you about the strategic dilemmas of the Ukrainian-Russian war. Main strategic dilemmas from the Ukrainians' perspective, Ukrainian strategy, goal, and end game plans, and how this changed since the start of the war and how may change in the future. The first dilemma, a strategic dilemma in this war, I can call it in such way. We can't win, we can't lose, and a draw doesn't work either. After all of the failures of the Russian army near Kyiv, Kharkov, and Kherson, for nowadays, Russia mobilized and quickly modernized its army, which has already led to the failure of the Ukrainian counteroffensive operation in the Zaporozhye region. And after the suppression of Prigozhin's rebellion, hopes for a quick collapse of Russia were also postponed for the future. Strategically, Russia has 3-5 times greater potential for mobilization in army than Ukraine. Russia has its own military-industrial complex, the production of everything necessary for war, huge military reserves and natural resources. Finally, at a critical moment, Russia may use tactical nuclear weapon against Ukraine. Therefore, Ukraine cannot win now. At the same time, Western support of Ukraine is not eternal, not forever. United States and European Union and others allies have already provided to Ukraine assistance for more than 200 billion United States dollars. United States more than 110, it's one figures, and to 130 billion, it's another figures, and European Union more than 85 billion. 50% of the state budget of Ukraine now is formed from incomes from Western allies. But now United States is in election campaign and Republicans are trying to reduce support for Ukraine because of challenging the Biden's international policy. European Union also has a problem with Slovakia, Hungary, etc. So it looks like the Ukraine cannot count and hope for systematic and increased assistance from our allies over the coming years. That's why we don't know if Ukraine has a chance even to win in the future. Otherwise, Ukraine's acceptance of Russian conditions or demands, I remind you, renunciation of Crimea and 15% of the territory of Ukraine occupied by Russia for nowadays, will not only mean defeat for Ukraine, but also the likelihood of a new war in the future for the remaining territories of Ukraine. It also encouragements the Russian invasion and geopolitical admissions, increased Russian pressure on Moldova and increases Russian pressures on Moldova and Balkans and Baltic countries, the countries in the Middle East. Austria, that is the continuation of the crisis. So we can't lose. Ukraine can lose. Agreeing to freeze the conflict means giving Russia time to strengthen itself in the occupied territories and maintaining significant risk of a new war in the future, so we can't accept the draw. Moreover, now Ukraine has a balance of military forces with Russia, and Russia can't win. And Ukrainian population, Ukrainian state are mostly still ready to fight, to continue their fight, even if we don't have a clear hope for the success of this fight. So the only alternative is to keep fighting and waiting for destruction of Putin's Russia. But it's also a bad strategy because Ukraine is losing best people during the war, loses an immigration, and the level of material damage for Ukraine is reaching some from 400 billion to 1 trillion United States dollars. The second dilemma, we are not going or we are going fight or we are going to live ordinary life. I'm talking about the tensions between three main social groups and between the government and society, between the government and army in Ukraine. Sociological surveys shows that Ukrainian society is now divided into three large groups. The first group is the passionaries, those who stand for the war to the bitter end, demanding the expansion of mobilization and the direction of all resources of society and state for the war. These are primarily military personnel and members of their families, volunteers, people with a nationalist view. They are from 40 to 50% of a society in Ukraine. The second group is a so-called tired. They are against any compromises and agreements with Russia, but at the same time, they want to end the war, to free the conflict without any concessions to the Russian Federation. They want to stop mobilizations and direct resources to the economy. They are from 20 to 25% of population. And the third group advocates peace negotiations and compromises with the Russian Federation. There are about 20% of them. And they see no way out of the situation other than agreement with the Russian Federation. Interesting that the closer to front line, the more tired and the peace supporters there are. And if we are further, you go to the from the front line, further go to the west of Ukraine, there are more passionaries there. If we sum up the first and the second group, we will get from 60 to 70% of Ukrainians who oppose compromises with Russian Federation, and this, at the same time, half of society no longer wants to fight. It's a sum of second and the third groups. Even the Ukrainian military, in particular General Valery Zaluzhny, in his interview with Economist magazine, admits the deadlock, stalemate at the front and the absence of the near future of prospects for military victory. The third dilemma for Ukraine is the membership in NATO and the European Union or neutral status for peace and prosperity. Public opinion polls show that the majority of Ukrainians, from 60 to 80% of population, want Ukraine to join NATO. But from the point of view of ending the war, Ukraine needs to remain a neutral or non-aligned state and has a security guarantee. Moreover, if we examine the underlying motives of public opinion in Ukraine, it becomes clear that Ukrainians, like other peoples, simply strive for the security and well-being that they know now instinctively looking in NATO and European Union. At the same time, Ukraine's president Vladimir Zelensky continued to insist on his own peaceful plan, so-called 10 steps, main elements of which are a restoration of Ukraine's territorial integrity and the world order, withdrawal of Russian troops and cessation of hostilities, justice, the special tribunal regarding the crimes of Russian troops made in Ukraine, prevention of escalation, and so on. This is a maximalist plan that can only become a reality if Russia loses the war. But Russia now has not lost yet. So these three dilemmas of Ukrainian society and these dilemmas between Ukraine and our allies will describe the general situation, how it's hard, how it's strong, how it's complicated for nowadays. But everything which was done by people can be resolved by people. So let's look for the rational and successful way for resolution this problem. Let's look for ending strategy for this war. Thank you, friends, for looking at this vlog. Please don't forget to push like and subscribe for this channel. I will try to do my best for thinking over, for rational thinking over, from thinking over from the real politic position on the situation in Ukraine and Russia. Bye bye. See you next time.